At 4:42 p.m., the paramedic looked at the clock, then at the body on the asphalt, and quietly said, "Time of death." The man on the ground was Michael Alvarez, 41, a warehouse supervisor, a father of two, just ordinary. This happened on March 18, 2016, on a rain-soaked highway outside Phoenix, Arizona. 7 seconds earlier, Michael was driving home, annoyed about nothing important, bills, traffic, the radio playing too loud. Then a truck hydroplaned. Metal screamed, glass exploded, and Michael's world folded inward. When emergency crews arrived, his car was unrecognizable. The steering column had crushed his chest. His pulse was gone. No breath, no response. For 6 full minutes, Michael Alvarez was clinically dead. No heartbeat, no oxygen, no brain activity that should allow return. A white sheet was pulled over his face, and that should have been the end. But something else was happening. Later, doctors would say the body showed no signs of awareness. Witnesses would say they felt an unsettling stillness around him, and Michael, somehow, was not gone. He wasn't dreaming, he wasn't watching from above. He felt himself moving, not through space, but through a sensation of release, like slipping out of unbearable weight. Then came the silence. Not empty silence, intentional silence. And within it, a presence, not seen, not heard, but known. Michael would later say the strangest part wasn't peace. It was recognition, as if something had been waiting for him, and he wasn't finished yet. Because just as the sheet was about to be zipped closed, Michael Alvarez took a breath. When Michael Alvarez took that breath, his body jolted, but he wasn't fully back. His eyes stayed closed. His chest rose once, then stopped again. Paramedics froze. But inside, Michael was somewhere else entirely. There was no tunnel, no bright flash. Instead, there was space without distance, a place that felt vast but intimate at the same time. He didn't feel like a body. He felt like awareness itself, weightless and unafraid. Time wasn't moving forward. It wasn't moving at all. Michael sensed moments from his life, not replayed like a movie, but felt. The impatience with his kids, the times he chose silence instead of kindness, the times he helped someone without expecting anything back. None of it came with judgment, only understanding. And then a pull, not forceful, not violent, more like someone placing a hand on his back and gently asking a question without words. Is this really how you want to leave? Michael wanted to answer, but there was nothing to say. The question carried its own truth. He realized something terrifying. If he stayed, it would be easy. If he returned, it would hurt. And then he felt it. Not fear, not joy, but love, focused and intentional. Love that wasn't emotional, but directed. It was aimed through him, toward his children, toward unfinished conversations, toward people he hadn't met yet. And suddenly, Michael understood. This wasn't about him. That's when the pressure began. Heavy, crushing, painful. The weight of a body rushed back in, lungs burning, chest screaming. Michael gasped again, violently this time, and the world came rushing back in fragments. Voices, rain, flashing lights. A paramedic shouted, "We've got a pulse!" Michael had crossed a line that most never returned from, and nothing inside him was the same. Michael woke up 3 days later. The first thing he felt was pain, sharp, overwhelming, undeniable. The second was confusion. The ceiling above him was white, too white. Machines beeped in rhythms he didn't recognize. A nurse leaned over and said words that didn't make sense at first. You were dead for several minutes. March 21st, 2016, Intensive Care Unit, Phoenix, Arizona. Michael tried to speak, but his throat failed him. Tears came instead, not from fear, but from something closer to grief. Doctors explained the injuries slowly: broken ribs, collapsed lung, severe trauma to the chest. One physician admitted, quietly, "We don't know why your heart restarted." Michael didn't argue. But something else disturbed him more than the pain. The world felt louder. Voices were sharper. Emotions from others seemed closer, heavier, like he could sense when someone was hurting before they spoke. When his wife, Elena, entered the room, Michael started crying again, not because he was alive, because he suddenly saw her exhaustion, the nights she stayed awake alone, the weight she carried without complaint. "I'm sorry," he whispered, the first words he managed. She thought he meant the accident. He didn't. Over the next days, memories from that place returned in fragments, never fully, never clearly, just impressions that followed him like a shadow. He noticed something else. Fear no longer worked the same way. Death didn't feel like an enemy anymore. It felt familiar. That terrified him, because how do you live fully in a world that no longer feels final? As Michael healed physically, a deeper question surfaced, one no machine could measure. Why was he sent back when others weren't? And the answer would not come gently. By June 2016, Michael Alvarez was home, officially recovered. Unofficially, he was unraveling. The accident had taken minutes. Coming back was taking everything. He couldn't explain to anyone why everyday moments felt overwhelming. The sound of his children laughing made his chest ache. Arguments felt unbearable, not because they were loud, but because they felt unnecessary. At night, Michael woke gasping, not from fear, but from longing. The stillness he had touched, whatever it was, had not left him. It followed him into grocery stores, into traffic, into silence. He tried returning to work, lasted 2 weeks. His boss said, "You're here, but you're not here." That was true. Michael began withdrawing, afraid that speaking about what he experienced would make people think he was unstable. He avoided words like afterlife or death. He simply said, "Something changed." Elena worried, not because he was sad, but because he was distant in a new way, quieter, more watchful. One evening, she asked the question he had been avoiding. "Why do you look like you're grieving something you can't name?" Michael didn't answer right away. Then he said, "Because I came back knowing how much love I wasted." That night, he broke down completely. For the first time, he spoke, not about what he saw, but about what he felt, the absence of judgment, the weight of love, the sense that life was meant to be given, not endured. Something shifted. Instead of isolating, Michael began listening, truly listening, to his children, to strangers, to pain he used to avoid. He started volunteering at a rehabilitation center, quietly, anonymously, sitting with accident victims who couldn't speak yet, holding hands, being present. No speeches, no explanations, just mercy in motion. And slowly, the weight began to lift. But one final realization would seal his transformation forever.
On March 18, 2017, exactly 1 year after he was declared dead, Michael Alvarez stood in a small hospital chapel in Phoenix, Arizona. He wasn't there to pray. He was there to remember. Not the crash, not the pain, but the moment he understood something most people never do until the end. Michael realized he hadn't been sent back with a message to preach. He had been sent back with a way to live. The experience didn't make him fearless. It made him present. He no longer rushed through conversations. He no longer postponed forgiveness. He no longer walked past suffering pretending it wasn't his responsibility. Today, Michael still lives an ordinary life. He drives his kids to school, he works fewer hours, he listens more than he speaks. But those close to him say something changed permanently. When people are hurting, Michael shows up, not with answers, with presence. He believes the most spiritual act isn't belief, it's attention. He still doesn't try to explain what happened while he was gone, because the truth is this: whatever he experienced didn't pull him away from life, it pushed him deeper into it. And maybe that's the part we miss. Near-death experiences aren't about escaping death, they're about learning how to live before it's too late. So if you ever feel like life is rushing past you, if love feels delayed, postponed, or conditional, remember Michael Alvarez, declared dead, returned, not to be extraordinary, but to love on purpose.